Derby Nation, what's happening? I'm Tank, and with me from the Motor City is Boo Delivers. Boo, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
Excellent. We saw you play a game today, taking on Minnesota. Detroit came up on the short end of the stick. How did the game feel? What was it like out there on the flat track for you today?
It was really intense. Minnesota really brought it, and it was a good game, so no complaints either way. They were really aggressive, and I think both teams did really well.
Now, this has got to be a game that you're looking at with a lot of interest right now. 51-68 is our score on the board, Naptown up. Of these two teams, who would you want to play against tomorrow?
We don't want to play either of them. No, I'm just joking. We did not expect the score to be the way it is now. So we're kind of just trying to take it in and assess both teams. We were hoping to be able to see a clear winner so we could watch one team and figure out what their strategy was. But now we're watching two teams, and Naptown's doing an awesome job.
If Naptown takes the win tonight, you play Windy City. Do you have a game plan for that? If Windy City comes back and Naptown takes the loss to play you, what does that switch how you're going to play them in style, or how does Detroit pair for either of these teams?
Well, we played both teams recently, semi-recently, at least in the year. So we have an idea of how the teams play, but Naptown has really stepped it up. So we're going to be really having to speed up our gameplay, it looks like, and tighten up our walls.
Well, Boo, I wish you and Detroit the best of luck tomorrow. Have fun out there, okay?
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Live at the Indiana Convention Center, downtown Indianapolis, Danny Mack and Dump Truck here for the call. Detroit Derby Girls versus the Naptown Roller Girls. Detroit the 2 seed, Naptown the 4 seed, and this is for a spot in the championships.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be extremely exciting. What the game we're seeing before us is the game that a lot of people picked when doing their brackets. I know that this is what I saw happening, and we've seen some impressive roller derby on both sides of the bench. Detroit, one of the most physical leagues in the roller derby community, they really like to beat you up. If you have to be a jammer playing against Detroit, you're not going to have a good time of it because they really like to punish. And they also have those 4 walls and those 3 walls that they lock down, and you cannot get around them. They take up a lot of space. They have a lot of Amazon-type athletes out there. And the ones that are not juggernaut size in the women's flat track roller derby world are still extremely muscular, extremely able to absorb a hit and turn it into forward momentum or simply give a hit of their own. So no matter how tall or small they are from Detroit, they are all punishers on the track.
Now looking at Naptown, the keys for their game. Here's a basic and simple truth of roller derby. Stay out of the box. I'll say it again, stay out of the box. Had they stayed out of the box last night, they would have been an upset city. They would have been heading to the tournament. That was perhaps their Achilles last night playing against Windy City. Another thing that would behoove them to do is play with the same attitude they have coming in. Last night, it didn't matter that they were playing Windy City. They may as well have been playing Little Sisters of the Poor. They come in not thinking who they're playing. They just play, and that serves them well. Also, don't get sucked into that hitting game Detroit likes to play. Naptown is not as big as Detroit. They're not as physical. They will not win that hitting game. They did a great job of staying away from that tactic last evening against Windy City. We talked about yesterday also. Yesterday was upset Saturday. It's already upset Sunday, Dump Truck. 3-4-3 in terms of upsets this afternoon. And looking back at that, Cincinnati got upset by Bruce City at 11:40. We also had Ohio upsetting Mad Rollin' and Outfit upsetting arch rival. So the places that are already set: 5th place Outfit, 6th place arch rival, 7th Bruce City, 8th Cincinnati, 9th place Ohio, and 10th place Mad Rollin'.
You know, it's just kind of a sign of the times of how strong the North Central region is and where its new direction is going. It is kind of a changing of the guard. You've got a lot of those veteran teams out there that have veteran players that have been playing this sport for 10 years. And it's time for them to move on and do something else. And so you got to wait for that new blood to come in. That being said, you've got these fresh new teams that have been learning from those OG roller derby squads out there that are ready to compete, and they're striking at the time where it's time for a turnover on the veteran squads. And I tell you, I like what I see in the North Central region. It has been extremely competitive and extremely consistent. Those teams who have been producing this weekend have been doing it all weekend long. There is a lot of consistency, and that means that the games that you see out here are exactly what you see. It's not them just having a good day, it's them having a strong day one after the next, and I love what I'm seeing from the North Central region. region.
Detroit Derby girls come in 7-11 overall record this season. That's before the tournament. 4-2 record versus North Central tournament teams. Naptown 13-2 and 10-2 versus North Central opponents. They're coached by J Roller Detroit, coached by Robbie McSpeedy Pants.
This broadcast of the 2011 WFTDA North Central Region Playoff is brought to you in part by Dr. Hauschka, the WFTDA's official bruise healer. Lose the bruise with Dr. Hauschka's Ouch Aid. Adam Wheels, the official wheel of the WFTDA. Rydell Skates, proud partner and the official skate of the Women's Flat Track Derby Association. Elemental Technologies, the world's most powerful video processing solutions.
Couple of players to look out for tonight. For Detroit, Captain Racer McChaser, a player that this team feeds off of, plain and simple. When she's playing well, Detroit plays well. And it sounds like it sounds oversimplified, but it's really the truth. When she delivers from the line, then Detroit wins. A player to look out for Naptown, not necessarily one specific player, but a position. Who will be the standout pivot this evening? Naptown losing their final original roller girl in Sweet C a little bit before the playoffs. They managed to pick up a couple of transfers from Fort Wayne Derby girls. Both of those will see significant action from the jammer line. One of those is Majestic. You may see her as well throw on the pivot stripe, but Riptide and Majestic, two Fort Wayne Derby girl transfers that have absolutely contributed in this tournament. If you saw Naptown before the tournament, this is a different team. They're quicker, they're more patient, and just because those two players have transferred doesn't mean that they haven't fit right in.
You know, and it's one of those things where a lot of my picks throughout this tournament and throughout this season, actually, I've based a lot of the question marks in my head to the veteran squads out there. And the rapid pace that our sport is evolving is astounding. It doesn't necessarily take you being a veteran. It takes you being a student. When you become a student that stays dedicated to learning that rule set and learning the newest up-to-date strategies, then you can be successful out there. And I think that's going to play a big factor. It's going to be an even playing ground as far as that goes. We've seen the successes of Naptown this weekend. We've seen the successes of Detroit. And it's going to be interesting to see who comes out with a successful win at the end of this game.
We saw Detroit being introduced in the black, now Naptown in the white for the Tornado Sirens. Tonight they will dress number 000 I'ma Hurt You, 105 Majestic, number 2 Serial Killer, number 208 Amuse Bouche, number 218 Asian Sensation, number 317 Shady Lane, number 318 Willa Hoflinch, number 321 Caught You Lookin', number 4 Riptide, number 7 Dora the Destroyer, number 76 Made in America, number 8 Anastasia, number Gen 3 Evel, and number N3 Blue Messiah.
And for the Detroit Derby girls, it's going to be number 100, Polly Fester, number 11, L Emanator, number 1974, Honey Suck It, 22, Effin' Money, 247, Boo Delivers, 28, Racer McChaser, 303, Bruzy Sue, 313, Black Eyed Skis, 333, Cookie Rumble, 46, Fatal Femme, number 6, L McPherson, 68, Summers Evil, 813 Tinja, and at N20 Cool Whip.
Again, these two teams playing for a shot in the championship. It does not get any bigger than this. We're live in Indianapolis, the Indiana State Convention Center, downtown Indianapolis. Monumental Mayhem 2011 North Central Region Playoff, Detroit versus Naptown.
It looks like Detroit's going to put Racer McChaser, their captain, on the jammer line. And from Naptown, you're going to have number 76, a very, very impressive skater this weekend, Made in America.
Yep, strength versus strength, the two best jammers starting it off as we'd expect. Both teams take a knee in the pack.
Racer giving out some instruction there. Detroit dropping to a knee, creating a no-pack situation and forcing forward momentum of the pack. Getting things started hot. She is now over in turn 2, looking for an inside line in the backstretch. She finds it and becomes lead jammer.
Serial Killer and I'ma Hurt You up towards the front of the pack, trying to get their players through now. Made in America trips, and we'll see a sea of black swallow her up. Nobody cycles in and out of blocks like Detroit.
I tell you, Racer McChaser is already in the mix again right now on the outside of turn 3, looking to move up and get past the 2 wall from Naptown. It looks like that involves I'm a Hurt You and Serial Killer.
Made in America almost back up to the rear of the pack. Racer McChaser has seen enough, calls it off, grabbing 3 points, the first 3 of this first jam. 3-0 Detroit Derby Girls over the Naptown Roller Girls.
Detroit really hoping to get back to the championship tournament. They have not been there since 2008 when it was the national tournament in Philadelphia. They want to go for that trophy. They want to get 3rd place here and be guaranteed a trip to Denver, Colorado for the WFTDA championships.
Those boos aren't boos, those are boosh. As Amuse Boosh steps to the line in white for Naptown, in black for Detroit is Effin' Money.
Effin' Money, one of the best jammers that Detroit has to offer. You will see her heavy in the rotation. Number 22 knows how to skate low, and she's one of their smaller skaters, but she hits a lot bigger than she looks out there.
Already time ticking off the clock here. The slow game implemented. 30 seconds have wound off without the jammers moving. Amuse Boosh last night, you'll remember at the end of the Windy City bout, a late penalty cost her team a possible opportunity, and you know, if anybody can recover from a mistake like that, it's Amuse Boosh. She is mentally tough, and so is Naptown.
Fatal Femme was in the penalty box. Detroit keeping everything slow at the beginning of that jam to eat up that penalty clock. Now she can rejoin the action. We're back to 5-on-5 on the track.
Dora the Destroyer taking Effin' Money out. Amuse Boosh slips through the pack and called for cutting the track. A major. She will head to the penalty box.
Dora the Destroyer has been having one great weekend out here on the track. She's been a very, very integral part to why Naptown has been successful bringing here to this game.
Smart play by Dora the Destroyer right there, just as you mentioned her, knocking Effin' Money out of bounds and stepping backwards, forcing Effin' Money to have to cycle behind her. Now Dora reforms the rear of the pack with Serial Killer.
Dora kind of provoking the bear a little bit, in my opinion, giving some suggestive hand signals going, come on, I'm back here, baby, come join me.
No one feeds off of the hornet's nest being poked like Detroit. Lead jam for Effin' Money. Detroit leading 3-0. Only 16 seconds left in this jam. Much of that time ticked off before the jammers even moved.
Folks at home, do not adjust your TV sets. What you are seeing is what we are seeing. It looks like a lightning storm in here. The lights have gone down a bit. They're changing what they're doing with the lights. We will have them back up and running as soon as possible.
A 5 spot on the board for Effin' Money, extending Detroit's lead 8-0. And this whole tournament, Dump Truck, you cannot get anything out of a team leading first. It's been up and down. First blood doesn't always mean last blood.
No, that just means you're the one that gets things kicked off. We have seen a lot of back and forth this entire weekend. Today is definitely no exception. Neither is the wonderful group of people that make up RollerGirlSkates.com. They've been here throughout the Big 5 tournament season, giving away wheels and all sorts of other swag. So give back to them and check out RollerGirlSkates.com. Also, Erie Insurance, keeping you covered with seriously good insurance.
Detroit will start this jam with Amuse Boosh, Naptown's jammer, in the penalty box for cutting the track. Again, Detroit in black, Naptown in white. Detroit, the 2 seed, was upset early on in the quarterfinal round by Minnesota, 127-106. Minnesota will play Windy City after the conclusion of this bout. Number 1 Windy City, who rubbed out Naptown last evening in a classic. 128-117 was the final there. I think people are still swimming after watching that one.
Yeah, it was an epic game, and this whole weekend has been that way. You know, no matter what game is happening on the track, they have all been worth staring at for sure. North Central Region bringing it strong here at the 2011 WFTDA North Central Region Playoff.
We called yesterday upset Saturday. Let's go ahead and call today upset Sunday. 3 for 3 in terms of upsets. We mentioned it a little earlier. Cincinnati getting upset by Brew City. Ohio upsetting Mad Rollin earlier, and Cincinnati part of another upset as they were beaten by arch rival earlier today. So 3 bouts, 3 upsets, and a lot of head scratching and a lot of crumbling up brackets going on at home.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of frustration in those that think that they can tell the future of roller derby and how these regions will pan out at the end. we are seeing the evolution of this region before us. These are the proving grounds of roller derby. We've been saying that the entire Big 5 tournament swing, and the North Central region is showing you exactly where they are. This is the tuning fork of the North Central region, and you're seeing the true seeding come together here on this final day of action.
And I'll correct myself. I said Cincinnati upset arch rival. That's incorrect. It was actually the upset I was speaking of was Outfit upsetting Brew City. And you know what? I'm even wrong.
You're on a roll.
I'm going to go to the penalty box.
Brew City took out Cincinnati earlier today, and Chicago Outfit coming on top of the arch rival Roller Girls. No matter how you spin it, no matter what matchup you're talking about, today has been nothing but upsets.
Upset. And Naptown looking to do that as well, but they have an 8-point hole to climb out of. And if you see Naptown's jammer Amuse Bouche standing up in the penalty box, that means she has fewer than 10 seconds once the play begins that she can join the play.
All right, that official timeout was called due to the lack of lighting that you all bore witness to. And the call there is, it's up to the teams. If they're comfortable with continuing play, then we'll do so. If not, it takes 15 minutes for these lights to recharge, and that's what we would have to wait. Both these teams ready to play some roller derby out there, Danny.
Racer McChaser, booty blocked by Dora the Destroyer. One-on-one goes Dora. Racer cuts to the right side and takes lead jammer. Already, Amuse Bouche has rejoined the pack, and she cuts through. Now she can score points, Dump Truck.
Amuse Bouche, having a great weekend herself, has the ability to catch up to the pack very quickly and has killed quite a few jams thus far. Racer McChaser in the middle of the pack and makes her way to the other side as she exits turn 2 and picks up 4 points on that pass, and managing her clock early in the game, waits to call off the jam.
Naptown still scoreless, 12-0. Defensive heavy bout so far. It's early on, but it's gotten physical, but not out of hand physical. There's been players in the box, but it hasn't been like we saw Windy City and Naptown last night, where it was tweet, tweet, tweet. Players even skating around when the box was full. You don't see that very often.
No, you don't. The penalties are going to be one of those big things today. You know, Danny, we've talked about it already. Who stays out of the box is going to have the greatest opportunity to come out with a win at the end of this game. And right now, it looks like Naptown has Willa Hoflinch on the jammer line. And then you're going to have 1974 Honeysuckit for Detroit.
Honeysuckit, small and mighty. She can move. And she's taking her licks, getting knocked around by Dora the Destroyer, dipping back and forth, trying to find the spot. Willa Hoflinch at the rear of the pack. The thing you'll notice about Willa Hoflinch is her perfect skating strides. I'ma hurt you. Forced to let Honeysuckit go as she draws a penalty. Honeysuckit, lead jammer, as Willa Hoflinch has yet to get through. If she can get an open territory, there are few skaters that can catch her.
Right now in the pack, you do have a little bit of separation there. Detroit in black at the rear, and you have Naptown in white kind of mixed there in the middle. And it looks like Willa Hoflinch able to get out of the pack on her initial pass. And there goes Honeysuckit. She gets out of there and calls off the jam after she picks up 5 points, the first grand slam of this game.
A heady play by Willa Hoflinch there to spring herself and also cause a little bit of distress to Honeysuckit. Otherwise, there might have been more points. She cut through the inside, shoved Honeysuckit aside. Honey had to reset herself, but to no avail. Willa Hoflinch, no points. Naptown still scoreless, 17-0.
If you're wondering what gear those ladies are out there on their feet, making them amazing, it's Antic Boots, Reckless Wheels, and Moto Bearings, revolutionizing roller derby.
Majestic, the Fort Wayne Derby girl transfer in the white, wearing the star for Naptown, off the line. Detroit, again, the team you'll see in black, a heavy-hitting squad. Naptown, a fairly upstart, their second NC playoff appearance. Cookie Rumble, meanwhile, lead jam for Detroit.
Cookie Rumble on the move, now a full half track from the pack. Detroit starting to control the pace of play as they have captured number 8 from Naptown on Slasia. And what that is called is an isolation play. They control the pace of the pack, making it easy for Cookie to get through that pack and catch up, call off the jam, walk away with 4 points.
Detroit right now controlling things without question. A 21-0 run. 4 jams in.
Effin' Money out there jamming for Detroit, number 22. Detroit again in black. Naptown in white. You're going to have number 76 for Naptown, Made in America.
Maiden last night against Windy City. Very impressive. A 19 point jam early on that really started the scoring for Naptown. The Tornado Sirens only didn't lead 4 jams in the first half.
I tell you, Effin' Money is one of the most spry jammers out there. She's going back and forth, back and forth. Naptown trying to move that rear 3 wall to contain her, but she just kept juking, and it really worked out there for her in the end as she picks up lead jammer status, now on a scoring pass.
You often think of Detroit players as too big, but she seems too small, but definitely not. Very, very powerful jammer. Made in America on the rear of the pack in white for Naptown. Wants a point out of this. Will not get it, but more importantly for her team, Detroit, no points as well.
Yeah, that is a 0-0 jam. Nice work killing that. Made in America, hauling up to the back of the pack, forcing Effin' Money to call it off. Looks like our lighting situation is in the middle of a virtual resurrection. So things on the screen will be much more clear momentarily.
I'll tell you what I like is how slowly it's rising up.
Yeah, it's very ominous. Here comes the climax, folks. This is the North Central Region Playoffs, brought to you by WFTDA.com.
Blue Messiah for Naptown. She's the white jammer. The black jammer for Detroit, Cookie Rumble. Blue has played a lot of time on the warning bells and has also played for the Tornado Sirens. She's typically a 4 or 5 on the jammer roll for this Naptown team, but she is very aggressive and scores in clumps.
Cookie Rumble's in the middle of the pack. Both jammers still trying to get out on their initial pass. Cookie at the front, but she's got to take 1, 2, 3 different blockers on. Stays on her feet, pushes through the pack, and she's your lead jammer for Detroit.
Naptown getting swallowed up right now by an unbelievable defense. Fatal Femme leading the charge right now. She has to let Blue Messiah go for a penalty. Blue heading to the penalty box. Power jam on the way for Detroit.
That's that rear 4 wall I was telling you about. Good luck escaping through that. These ladies know how to stay together. They know how to slow it down, and that gives their jammer a huge advantage as you see Cookie Rumble just fly right on through, picking up 5 points.
Squeezing off Eve L. That is a very vicarious position to be in for Eve L between 4 Detroit Derby blockers.
Right now we do have a power jam on our hands. There's only 1 jammer on the floor, only 1 jammer to score. Cookie Rumble making her way through the pack for another 5-point pass. That is a grand slam for Detroit Derby girls.
31-0 the run for Detroit. Naptown has remained scoreless mainly because of Detroit's lockdown defense. Naptown's had given Detroit 2 power jam opportunities so far. The one we're seeing right now, Blue Messiah, in the penalty box.
Cookie Rumble going to the outside of turn 3, shrugging off every hit that comes her way. I'ma Hurt You now making contact, slowing her down. She's now joined by Anastasia. And she gets to the pack on another successful 4-point run.
14 points for Cookie Rumble. With Naptown looking on in the box, Captain Katya looking in white for Naptown calls a timeout.
Looks like there at the end, Polly Fester going to be sitting down for a minute. She had a major track cut there towards the end, according to Dr. Vroom. 5 Stride Skate Shop is the preferred skate shop of Bonnie Thunders, Deranged, Psychobabble, Susie Hot Rod, and Teflon Donna. If you want to get it from the best, you might as well go to the best. 5 Stride Skate Shop.
Well, Dump Truck, let's recap some of the keys to the game we talked about a little bit early. Naptown needs to stay out of the box. Put a big X next to that one. They need to not get sucked into Detroit's physical game. Put an X next to that one. And so far, that tells the tale of this 35-0.
It does. You know, we were speaking very early on of what Naptown needs to do because of the kind of physical game that Detroit brings. They're smart. They've got those 3 walls. They've got those 4 walls, and that's part of that very intense physical game. They love to trap a goat. They love to grab that opponent, keep them at the back of the pack, slow her down so that everyone has to play their game, allowing their jammers just to start lapping. They'll definitely take advantage of every single power jam you give them. So whenever you see a power jam happen in their advantage, look for some major points to be on their side.
Racer Mick Chaser, the captain for Detroit, comes to the line. Amuse Bouche for Naptown. You'll see some basketball-like moves out of Amuse Bouche. She was an Indiana High School All-Star.
Racer Mick Chaser now caught at the back of the pack. First time this has happened for her in this game. And it looks like this is going to be a power jam, Danny.
Amuse Bouche heads to the box first, and Racer Mick Chaser right behind her. Fortunately for Amuse Bouche's position on the track, she was right near the penalty box, or much more damage could have been done. Amuse has to back her way all the way to the rear of the pack, Got you looking, I'ma hurt you. Serial Killer leading the way. Evel joins the pack, making Naptown for full strength.
And there goes Racer McChaser jumping off the bench back in the middle of the action. Both of these jammers still need to make their initial pass, which they have both done. Since they have been to the penalty box, this will be a full 2-minute jam.
Here comes Amuse Boosh around. She has about a half a track length to cut up before Racer McChaser got handsy.
Yeah, you can't be doing that when you're in the pack. Illegal use of hands or forearms, and that's a major send her in the box. It is a power jam advantage, and Naptown Roller Girls.
First points on the board coming for Naptown. If Amuse Boosh can make it through the Detroit defense, Naptown's pack turns around, trying to keep this tightened up and hopefully allow their jammer to get through, and Amuse Boosh does. Caught you looking, I'ma hurt you. Sprung their jammer.
Bruzy Sue and Black Eyed Skis doing their best to hold back Amuse Bruise, not able to do it. Now you see the team play of the very intelligent Naptown come together. It's 4-on-2 in the pack. Naptown has the advantage there, and they used their advantage in numbers as a tool on the track, allowing them to pick up some points and get on the board for the first time.
They are quick, they are smart, and they like to use misdirection. 5 more points for Amuse Boosh. 15 total for her in this jam. Naptown within 20, their first scoring of the bout.
And that's a big one. You can hear the crowd at home, folks. It is going off in Indianapolis. Naptown definitely with a local piece of love. They've got a lot of fans within the roller derby community here as well. So with their powers combined, they know how to turn that level up to 11.
Ring together.
Yeah, you know, exactly. It's kind of a what was that off
Captain
of?
Planet.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
The Planet guy.
Yep.
He had good hair.
Made in America. A minor power jam here. 3 seconds ticks off, and here comes Racer McChaser. The two finest jammers for these squads going at it. Racer will dip to the outside. The pack spreads apart. I'ma hurt you. And Majestic have to let her through. Lead jam for Detroit. I'll tell you one other sound you heard in that last jam was a sigh of relief out of Amuse Boosh after last night's late game penalty. She loved those 15 points.
Racer McChaser calls off the jam after she gets 4 more. I like what I'm seeing from Detroit. They're paying attention to that clock in between every single move that they make. They are using that to their advantage as soon as possible. They know what Naptown's capable of. They were in the house last night whenever they almost took out the Windy City Rollers. And they're not afraid of it. They respect it. So they're watching that clock and making sure it stays on their side.
It's true, and I'll tell you one more intangible Detroit has working for them. They lost to Minnesota, and there are a few teams that feed off of anger and just, you know, adversity like this Detroit team does.
It's a very intense squad, and right now they have Effin' Money, number 22, jamming for them. She's going against number 4, R.I.P. Tide.
Yep, Riptide from Fort Wayne, another transfer. She's going to serve as the 4 or 5 jammer tonight for Naptown. You can also see her a little bit on defense, but mainly jamming.
Detroit with that rear 3 wall containing the jammer. Riptide having lots of problems getting out, but it looks like Effin' Money has had to be the subject of recycling as well.
One more smart play by Dora the Destroyer. She knocked her out of bounds, fell backwards, and Effin' Money had to reset herself. Majestic, or I'm sorry, Riptide, a little bit ticked by that. She was hoping that that Effin' Money could be held a little bit longer. A 0-0 jam for Naptown.
When Effin' Money does get out of that pack, if she's behind you, she catches up really quick. She has a very low center of gravity and a lot of skate skill underneath her. She knows how to push through those turns. She knows how to skate the full track.
This jam brought to you by Derby Supply, the best customer service in the business, period.
Racer McChaser jamming for Detroit. Trying to get through the pack, but she has been passed by number 208, Amuse Bruise, being one of the very, very powerful jammers and one of the cornerstones of the jamming core from Naptown.
Amuse Boosh gets out, but right behind her is the Detroit jammer. Amuse, I'm not sure if she sees McChaser back there. She does as she calls it off upon hitting the pack. 4 points for Naptown, 2 coming for Detroit. Naptown might be tightening up their jammer core here. We saw Amuse Boosh jamming 3 jams ago. they might be starting to short cycle these players in to try to heap on some points.
Well, you have to like a bench that also has a cerebral mind. They know how to make adjustments in between jams. They see what's working for them on the fly. They're not going to wait for halftime to adjust. Halftime would be too late, especially when you see Detroit has 43 points over Naptown 17. We've got 13 minutes, 45 seconds to go.
Honey Suckett, nice and speedy from the line, as well as Made in America. Honey is really difficult to block, and it's like trying to hit a golf ball versus trying to hit a baseball. Different sport.
Honey Suckett trying to make it out of the back of the pack, but Made in America getting out of the pack before one lap is passed as your lead jammer for Naptown.
Important for Naptown is to try to land their hits. Majestic just whiffing there as Honey Suckett comes up. She's about a track length behind Made in America. The pack is speeding up here. Detroit trying to outrun Naptown jammer Made in America. She won't be outrun this time. She got around Polly Fester, calls it off. 4 points for Naptown.
I was able to talk to Made in America yesterday after the loss to Windy City, and I was like, how do you feel about your future? She goes, I'll see you in Denver, dump truck. Naptown is focused. They're fired up. They're ready to go. You see the focus on Made in America's face as she goes around this track. That seems to be the entire attitude of that Naptown bench.
Willa Hoflinch coming to the line, and she will face Effin' Money. Naptown, we've seen Anastasia and Majestic. I believe I'm a Hurt You out there as well. That's Serial Killer. So Dora the Destroyer in the box. That's Naptown's lineup.
Effin' Money makes it through the pack in the backstretch, but she does get pushed back and is eaten up. And those are the hits that I'm telling you about. She may not be one of the largest skaters on the track, but she does know how to connect.
Anastasia had a shot at her, and she absolutely absorbed it. Willa Hoflinch still struggling to get through. She's getting the business from El Eliminator.
Effin' Money now at the front of the pack, getting a little hip whip there off of Racer Big Chaser, pushing her all the way through, and she picks up 5 points for Detroit. That's a grand slam for the ladies from Detroit, Michigan.
Majestic had to let her go. Detroit, again, doing a good job of baiting Naptown into playing the speed they want to play. A 3-wall and a 4-wall towards the end of the pack. They're going back to that 4-wall mentality. Willa Hoflinch just cannot get through. I don't know any skater that can make it through that.
You know, those 3 walls are deadly from Detroit, and they've left Racer McChaser up at the front of the pack to do some offensive blocking. She's mixing things up out there. She goes up and helps Effin' Money as things are needed. She's also there as a bridge as the pack needs to stay within 20 feet.
Big points for Effin' Money. 5 more on the board. Willa Hoflinch gets sucked to the rear of the pack again. As she gets blocked out of bounds, she has to reset herself, and then Detroit just simply falls back or stops, forcing Willa to have to fight, and she is losing the fight against Fatale Femme et al.
Both teams now losing blockers as Naptown and Detroit are down 2 skaters. So now it's going to be 3-on-3 in the pack. Both jammers still in the action. Effin' Money being recycled as we speak.
Anastasia and Cool Whip in the box. And finally, Willa Hoflinch able to get through. No pack situation. Pack is reset. 5 points on the board for Effin' Money. 58-21 the score.
Right now it is Detroit Derby Girls with 58 points, Naptown Roller Girls with 21. Detroit has had the lead for the entirety of this game, and we've got 10 minutes, 9 seconds to go, and a whole nother period following that.
Boosh to the line for Naptown. She's been the most successful jammer so far. Timeout for Detroit's bench. Boosh to the line, and she will be opposed by Cookie Rumble.
Thanks to the following tournament partners: Spinland Media, Union Vacations, Protect Dent Mouth Guards, Skate Court, and Jules Doyle Photography.
If you're just joining us, the scoring started early from Detroit, and they did not look back until finally relinquishing 15 points from Amuse Bouche at the 9th jam of the game. That put the score to 35-15. Since then, Detroit has gotten back on it, holding Naptown to only 6 points. Fortunately for Naptown, their defense has stepped it up until this final jam where they let by 15 points from Detroit. Naptown looking a little bit overmatched early on, and Detroit is playing their game, that physical game that they love to do.
The name of their game is we'll use 4 if we need it, but if we can get away with a 3-wall and leave somebody like Racer McChaser up in the front to protect our jammer, we're going to do that. We've been successful at that. That is a strategy that has got them here to the third-place game today, and they're going to ride that all the way to freedom, hopefully being able to come out above Naptown. Again, the current score, Detroit Derby Girls in red and black with 58, Naptown Roller Girls in white with 21.
Pack starts off quick. I'ma Hurt You in the front, an Asian sensation. No match for the speedy Racer McChaser. There goes a Moose Boosh. So Boosh catching up here. Lead jam for Detroit. As we look into the penalty boxes for each team, it's a 3-on-3 jam.
Racer McChaser getting out of that micro pack, if you will, picks up 4 points on the way, as does Amouge Boost. This right here for Detroit is serving as a time killer. They're already using that clock to their advantage, and they are using it very, very well.
Yeah, an interesting tactic. You often don't see teams okay with absorbing those points, but when you have a lead like this and you want to start running time down, that's about what you do. To heck with those other points the other team's getting. As long as I'm still scoring, let's move that clock.
Well, Dr. Psycho Cub has something to say. Big shout out to everyone at the North Central region from Gold Coast Derby Girls viewing party. Gold Coast from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, had a great weekend last weekend at the South Central Region Playoff. If you want to get us a message, tweet Talk to WFTDA. The word talk, the number 2, and WFTDA.
Honey Suckett and Made in America. Honey in black for Detroit. Made in America in white for Naptown at the jammer line. Made in America getting a fierce shot from Captain Boo Delivers and a lead jam for the home team in white.
Be looking for a lot more of that. Once Made in America gets a rhythm, she loves to play the song over and over again, and she's already in scoring position as it looks like Honey Suckett's having some serious trouble getting through that pack.
I'ma Hurt You rubbed her out. Now jammer on jammer action between Made in America and Honey Suckett. Maiden sees where Honey Suckett is located and wants to push around her. She can call it off at any point. She is the lead jammer. Here comes Honey Suckett, a 3-wall by Naptown, Anastasia, Majestic, and I'ma Hurt You. Now stopping the action to allow Honey Suckett to have to recycle backwards.
Honey Suckett owning real estate at the back of the pack. Not exactly up to her, though. And it looks like Naptown coming out successful with 5 points there at the end. Naptown Roller Girls in white now have 30 points on the board. Just 32 points behind Detroit Derby Girls is 62.
That's a start, but it's going to take a couple more of those to get back into this one. To the line for Detroit, effing money. She has been money thus far. Dora the Destroyer jamming for Naptown. Naptown digging into their jammer bench. This is the 6th jammer Naptown sent to the line.
Well, that being said, with Dora Destroyer on the line, we did see a pretty quick helmet panty pass yesterday. Right off the line, Naptown's really good at using their weapons, and they've got one of their finest blockers out there with a jammer helmet star cover on, and she is producing for her ladies. It is Dora the Destroyer as your lead jammer.
She took an illegal hit from Bruzy Sue and got lead jammer. Here she comes. Dora, mainly a blocker now, also a pivot, formerly a jammer. She has that skill. When she's going fast, you won't see her turn, you see her hop. She gets about a foot off the ground sometimes, hopping and making cuts.
Effing money now out of the pack now that she has been released from Serial Killer. Dora the Destroyer trying to get through on her scoring pass, unable to do so as both of the defenders that are left out there from Detroit team up and lock it down.
3 points on the board for Dora. That puts 12 points on the board for Naptown to Detroit's 4 in the last 3 jams. So a 12-4 run going for the Tornado Sirens, trying to crawl back into this one as time becomes an issue. 6 minutes left in the first half.
Riptide on the jammer line for Naptown going against Racer McChaser, captain of Detroit, as she starts to give out some orders there before the whistle blows.
Some fans like to see this, the pack moving, but then Detroit puts a halt to it, forcing Naptown to have to step back and reform the pack. Riptide working her way around the Detroit 3-wall, but Racer McChaser, too much for the front of the line. CK had to go one-on-one and wasn't able to land it.
Fatal Femme and Eliminator teaming up together, giving Naptown the chance to get through that pack. but not able to do so as they are also joined by another one of their teammates out there, and she is the jammer, and she's making things happen for Detroit.
Yep, Riptide, the Fort Wayne transfer for Naptown. Racer grabs 3 points quickly. Saw Riptide coming up on the back of the pack. A 65-33 score as Detroit, again, has led this cover to cover.
Well, we're now underneath the 5-minute mark of the first period. And we do want to thank Fast Girl Skates for being a part of this broadcast. They are the industry pioneer in boot sizing and configuration for women's feet. If you're a woman that likes quads and you need to get the proper boot fitting, go to Fast Girl Skates, and they can be found at fastgirlskates.com.
Lead jam for Naptown. You'll notice by the loudness of the crowd when Naptown gets out in front, and that's Majestic, the other Fort Wayne Derby girl transfer. Naptown getting those players with one bout remaining in the regular season, so they're relatively new to this system, but have really paid off so far. A 2-wall in the back for Detroit as a blocker heading to the box. It's Elle McPherson.
Nice work by Naptown. Their jammer at 105, Majestic, staying calm, cool, and collected. She was very, very patient, let the pack unfold. Racer McChaser went down in turn 4, gave her an opportunity to pick up points, and it looks like she does it more than once as she gets through again with 4 more points on the board for Naptown. Danny Mack, it looks like somebody's got some mojo going.
Yep, chipping away, 23 points down. The largest lead Detroit has enjoyed came at the 14 jam mark, and that was a 58-21 lead. But Naptown able to chip away, get back into this one. Amuse Bush to the line. She's been Naptown's scoring hero so far, a 15-point jam for her. The first scoring for Naptown back in jam number 9.
Amuse Bruce jamming for Naptown in white. It's going to be FN money for Detroit in black. Bruce going to the inside line to turn 1. She is shut down and goes down to her knees before she gets to turn 2. Detroit being very, very, very tough and relentless there, but Amuse Bruce is too much as she gets through as lead jammer.
Bush working quick. Naptown trying to crank up the speed of this pack. Now they'll slow it back down. It's a small pack. Serial Killer, Asian Sensation. On for Naptown, and Bush dips to the inside. Leaping there for 4 points. 2 players in the box for each team. A 65-46 score with now 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go.
Bush had her flight plan all ready to go, and she hit that pack on her scoring pass. She knew where she was headed. She knew what speed she had to be going. She gets in, she gets out. There is no effing about, and she calls off that jam whenever she needed to. It is 2 minutes, 20 seconds to go in this first period. Honeysuckle on the jammer line for Detroit, and Dora the Destroyer for Naptown.
One more interesting matchup. Jay Roller, the coach of Naptown, going with what's worked so far. Dora the Destroyer came in, ordinarily a blocker or a pivot. Historically, though, a jammer, so she has the skills, but looks like it might be almost to nullify how active Honeysuckle has been. This might be a defensive strategy putting Dora out there. Dora's got the quicks, but also has that blocking ability.
Well, when you have someone that can do both and you're going to keep the pack really close to the jammer line like that, you almost end up with an extra blocker that can go ahead and play some defense on Honeysuckle and then go off to the races with her pack taking care of the rest.
There are those happy feet that I was talking about with Dora the Destroyer, the gazelle from hell they call her. She doesn't really strafe, she jumps. She'll be facing Polly Fester up at the front of the pack, and Dora again getting hit, but Honeysuckle being held at bay by Naptown. It's Majestic in the rear of the pack, and I'ma Hurt You. Lead jam for Dora the Destroyer.
Dora putting in her work to get through that pack, and she finally just got a little calmer, a little more collected. Let the holes open up before her and then take advantage. You don't have to force your way through the door. Sometimes you just got to unlock it.
Honeysuckle finally able to score as Majestic has to let her through. Dora the Destroyer working through with the help of her blockers, Majestic, Anastasia, and I'ma Hurt You. Getting a small shirt whip from Majestic is Dora. She'll work on the right side against Polly.
Front 2 all there, Bruzy Sue and Polly Fester locking it down. Naptown able to pick up 3 points, Detroit with 0. And that brings the Naptown Roller Girls to 49. Detroit Derby Girls still stuck at 65 with just 24 seconds to go in regulation here in this first period.
Smart play by the Naptown Jammer, Dora the Destroyer. We saw last night Naptown leaving a few points on the board by not calling off the jam before the other team was able to score. They lost, by my count, 7 points, and that really would have made a difference late in the bout.
Racer McChaser now going to be jamming for Detroit. Blue Messiah out there for Naptown, who gets out of the pack before exiting turn 1. She will not be your lead jammer. Looks like it was a no pass, no penalty, as Racer McChaser is going for it. This will be a full 2-minute jam. No lead jammer. Correction. It looks like lead jammer is going to be Racer McChaser, and she calls it off immediately. No points for either squad.
Blue Messiah, I think, has a gripe here. I couldn't exactly see. The crowd also giving the refs a little bit here, but I thought I saw at least 1 or 2 black shirts being passed. The refs are going to discuss this one. I think much of this has to do with who was in the penalty box at the time.
I do believe you are correct, sir. They're wondering about the timing of the whistles and if Naptown was able to pick up any points to their advantage. Before we call it an official timeout, we're going to wait for a word. Although the signs that I see before me speak clearly and loudly that this will be the halftime score. Detroit Derby Girls 65. Naptown Roller Girls moving up, tightening the gap there with 49 points. We're back here in Indianapolis for the 2011 WFTDA North Central Region Playoff. My name is Dump Truck. I'm joined here by Danny Mack. And this broadcast is brought to you in part by the WFTDA, the Women's Flat Track Derby Association. All info can be found at WFTDA.com. Dr. Hauschka, the Women's Flat Track Derby Association's official bruise healer. Lose the bruise with Dr. Hauschka's Ouchaid. Elemental Technologies, the world's most powerful video processing solutions.
The first half started off with Detroit 35-0 over Naptown before Amuse Bouche put on 3 grand slams to get Naptown on the board. Detroit led by as many as 37 points. That was back at the 58-21 mark. They went into halftime at a 65-49 lead with Naptown gaining a little bit of momentum, squeezing out 16 unanswered points in the final 3 jams. Stars for these teams to begin. Cookie Rumble got the scoring off, as well as Effin' Money has had a very nice evening, and Racer McChaser doing the job from the jam line for Detroit. Naptown has used a bevy of jammers. In fact, 7 players, by my count, have gone to the line. Made in America, the highest scoring of those. She put up a 15-point jam.
What better way to figure out who's going to have a good day from the jammer line than make sure you put everyone capable in that rotation. Now we're in the second period, and I guarantee you both of those locker room conversations were very concise and down to the point. This is what we need to improve on, so let's do it. These are the ones that have been successful as jammers. They're going to start taking that helmet star cover a lot more often.
Lead jam made in America. Naptown's best jammer. She will come right back up on Racer McChaser, playing a defensive jammer role, trying to kill the penalty with 2 of her players in the box.
Racer McChaser now gets through the pack. That was her initial pass. Lead jammer again is Made in America, who's trying to get around number 100, Polly Fester.
Maiden one-on-one now with Polly Fester as Naptown's able to cycle their pivot back in. Elle McPherson. No points for Racer as Made in America calls this off to tack on 4 more points. Naptown back within 12 in the first jam of the second half.
Detroit Derby Girls with 65 over Naptown Roller Girls 53. It's getting tight here in the second period. Detroit Derby Girls putting Effin' Money out there. It looks like Amuse Bouche out there for Naptown Roller Girls. Detroit is in the black, Naptown in white.
Amuse, a player seeking redemption, very upset with herself last night, drawing a penalty in the last jam to allow Windy City to tick off the clock. Nobody can recover like that better than Amuse Bouche. She's shown that already. She had a 3 grand slam jam earlier. Lead jammer for Amuse Bouche.
Boy, she turned it up at the perfect point. 2 blockers from Detroit, unable to connect with a hit there to slow her down. And right now it looks like Naptown's pack is really starting to tighten down their screws as Effin' Money still has yet to make her initial pass.
A round tripper for Amuse Bouche, 5 more points. Naptown within 7 and this is the closest they've been since quite some time.
Since the very beginning of this game, it has been definitely all DDG. Right now, Naptown looks to do some big things early in the second period and gain an advantage, not just in mojo, but in points as she gets through and picks up another 5. That's a grand slam for Naptown.
Sometimes it's the subtle things. It's a quick screen as Serial Killer was able to get in front of Effin' Money to spring her jammer, and that little thing netted Naptown another 5 points. A Moose Boosh dipped her way through, and she will get more points on the board, 4 to be exact. A 14-point jam by Boosh. Naptown takes the lead, and listen to this crowd.
I don't know if you can see it, but you can play connect the dots on my arms right now. There are goosebumps all over my body. What an amazing feeling. You can feel the energy as the Moose Boosh comes out of that, screams in passion, and the crowd follows up with the same response.
We'll remind you that Detroit came out 35-0 to start this bout off. Naptown has never held a lead until that jam.
Jamming forward, Detroit is going to be Racer McChaser, who does get through the pack first as she exits turn 2 as your lead jammer.
Willa Hoflinch going for Naptown. She's in the white, Detroit in the black, as Dora the Destroyer has to let Racer McChaser go. Nobody gets angrier and nobody does better with it than Detroit. You put a couple of points up on them, they get mad and they get even.
Yeah, they definitely know how to adjust in between jams. They only have 30 seconds to do it, but they know who to plug out there on the track. They only have a pack of 3 right now, but with a jammer like Racer McChaser going unopposed at this moment, it is looking good in this jam for Detroit in this power jam.
Naptown's box is full only for a second as Serial Killer, Majestic standing up. They will enter play as soon as the pack makes its way around. Racer McChaser can't be opposed by Dora the Destroyer, and 5 more go on the board for Detroit. A short-lived Naptown lead. It's now 80-67 DDG.
DDG looking like Cool Hand Luke here at this point. It looks like they are so at ease on that bench, and you see the moves that Racer McChaser is making. They're not moves of intensity. They're not made in haste. They are made whenever they are designed to be put into place. Detroit looks really, really good here with a small lead, 82-67, but it only takes 1 point to win a game, as we all know, Danny Mac.
Well, as I walked around, I heard some of the players saying exactly the same thing at the half. 16 points was Naptown's deficit. That's makeable. That's a power jam, and in fact, they didn't even need a power jam to get that back. So both of these teams fighting and hungry for this one. Detroit holding back the lead again. Naptown had a brief lead in the last jam, and to the line for Detroit goes Honey Suckett. Willa Hoflinch still serving pine time for a major cutting the track. She will be sprung here in mere moments.
Nice move there by Honey Suckett, taking the inside line at the front stretch, but she does get stopped in turn 1 and has to rejoin at the back of the pack. Now she's making her way up to the front as she's trying to exit turn 2, but she's got 2 defenders in front of her. One of them is I'ma Hurt You, who has been very, very detrimental to the defense, and she's joined by Serial Killer, who is locking it down as this power jam comes to a conclusion, and Willa Hoflinch gets through and becomes lead jammer.
Willa Hoflinch's steps are so quick that the defense didn't even see her tiptoeing on as she exited from her penalty stint. Now Honey Suckett makes it around with Serial Killer having to go one-on-one. You'll see players skate back and forth like Serial Killer did early to serve as a screen. They're allowed to do that, and it helps them line up the block better.
Willa Hoflinch owes her pack a high five and a handshake for that. They killed the power jam in that instance and allowed her to get out of the pack, become lead jammer, and control that clock. You have to respect the ladies fighting in the trenches. They're working for her, and it's working well. Naptown 68, Detroit 82.
Naptown will send Made in America to the line. She will oppose Polly Fester, who has played much of the time as a blocker. And Made in America is getting the same tactic that Racer McChaser had on her a little earlier. Naptown throwing out, or rather Detroit throwing out a blocker against the best that Naptown has to offer in white.
Polly Fester jamming forward Detroit, trying to make her way through, but she is forced down to one knee in turn 2. Made in America gets bumped to the infield by Racer McChaser, who has her eyes on the prize. She is now joined by number 6 from Detroit, making great things happen, Elle McPherson. And now it looks like Polly is out of the pack, and your lead jammer for the Detroit Derby girls in black and red.
Made in America getting a double block by Racer McChaser, who is not double shifting from the line, but double shifting as a blocker this time. Now Made in America is able to score points, but meanwhile, the blocker, Polly Fester, grabbing a few points of her own, 4 to be precise. She will call this off as soon as Maiden gets to the rear of the pack. Made in America wants 1 point with a Detroit player that had fallen down. Cool Whip was on the ground.
A lot of big hits happening out there. We've been talking all day about the big hits from Detroit, but Anastasia may not be the biggest person out there, but she'll make it feel that way.
Anna perfectly accurate with her hits in this second half, 86-70, the current score. Amuse Bouche to the line along with Effin' Money for Detroit.
The jam has started. Looks like Racer McChaser picking up her intentional 4th minor penalty, taking a seat now in the penalty box. That strategy normally used to recharge your jammer. You don't want a jammer out there with 3 minors. That can create a power jam situation, and that's not something you want to give to Naptown. Amuse Bouche and Effin' Money looking for a way out. Amuse Bouche really sticking with her pack. Effin' Money is fighting on herself. Effin' trying to go to the outside of turn 1.
And she will. She'll get past Anastasia, who is drawing a penalty. Effin' Money now around turn 2. Serial Killer will join her teammate in the box. Naptown, a full box of blockers. Amuse Bouche now has to play defense along with the lone blocker, Dora the Destroyer. Bouche couldn't do it. Dora cycles back up, gets 1 more shot on Effin' Money before she's allowed to go. 5 points for Effin' Money. A full box again for Naptown as Dora has to come out.
Effin' Money hits the pack, picks up 0 points on that pass. Looking behind her, knowing where Amuse Bouche is, decides to call off the jam.
Nice penalty kill for Naptown. They were able to keep Detroit to 5 points.
Experienced Derby skaters getting you right gear to take you to the next level. Derby for all. They get it done right, and they'll keep the light on for you. Flat Track Revolution, wear your passion. Find them at flattrackrevolution.com.
Majestic, the Fort Wayne transfer, coming in for Naptown in white. She will pose at the jammer line. Cookie Rumble. Officials discussing things that'll allow Detroit to get Bruzy Sue back in the lineup. And Dump Truck, we talked earlier on about some of the storylines going on in this bout. How physical will Detroit be? We know they'll be physical, but will Naptown be caught in trying to oppose that? They were at times in the first half. That's when Detroit got out to their biggest lead of 37, was when Detroit got in their brains. Naptown called a timeout, regrouped, reassessed themselves, and started playing that varietal defense that has thrown off teams like Windy City.
Right now, Naptown sits at 70 points, only 21 points behind Detroit Derby Girls with 91. We've got 20 minutes and 36 seconds to go in this final period for 3rd place. The winning team here will move on to Denver, Colorado to be a participant and competitor at the 2011 WFTDA Championship Tournament in Denver, Colorado, hosted by the Denver Roller Dolls.
They will be joining Ole, Rocky, Rose City, Windy City, MNRG, who will be playing right after us here in this North Central Region playoff. Also Gotham, Philly, Charm, KCRW, Texas, and Nashville to round out the already in the tournament teams.
You gotta love those championship tournaments. Each region plays a slightly different style of roller derby. All of them very effective and all of them very different. You go to Denver, Colorado, you are going to see which strategy comes out on top and see which team can be most successful. It's exciting to see how all those ingredients get mixed up in one pot and create a great product like the championship tournament.
You think you've seen upsets here, already 3 this morning, 4 yesterday. You're going to see some upsets in Denver, no question about that.
That's the name of the game, and it keeps it exciting, as does Cookie Rumble for Detroit, who gets through the pack and picks up lead jammer status.
Majestic still having her struggles as Detroit strafing back and forth. They have that vaunted 3-wall in the rear. Majestic has nowhere to go until Ima Hurtu gets run into by Detroit blockers. 5 points for Cookie Rumble. Majestic right behind her.
Cookie Rumble is going to try and pick up some of these points before she calls it off, and she does so. There were a couple of blockers in the box for Naptown, so those points will be awarded upon the passing of her first opponent. Still waiting for the officials to see how many points were gained on that pass. It looks like 3. She passed 1 in traffic and picked up 2 in the box. Bringing the score now, 99 Detroit Derby Girls. Naptown Roller Girls with 70. Detroit is wearing black and red, Naptown in white.
2 lead changes thus far. Detroit started out 35-0 before Naptown finally put some points on the board. Naptown's only lead has come at the 22nd jam of this one. So that's 67-65 lead jam racer, Mick Chaser.
Boy, she was talking to the outside line and had an all-day conversation with it. Stuck to it, powered through that entire turn, as she tends to do. Has yet to slow down 1 iota and just keeps on trucking through. Shrugging off a hit from Ima Hurtu. She's going to pick up as many points as possible as she calls on that jam. And it looks like 4 points awarded to Detroit as they start to pull away 1 pass at a time.
Well, you mentioned the block by Ima Hurtu. She is a part of this veteran core of blockers. And by veterans, I'm talking about only a couple of teammates that have played 3 and 4 years on Naptown tops. Many of their veterans have since gone. The original Roller Girls for Naptown, the last one, Sweet C, retiring, leaving kind of a hole in the pivot position that lots of players are expecting to fill. Dora the Destroyer, one of them, a former jammer, turned blocker. Majestic, who they've acquired from Fort Wayne, among others, will be filling that blocking position, or that pivot position for Naptown Roller Girls.
Riptide jamming for Naptown. Honeysuckle jamming for Detroit. Nice move. Exiting turn 2 is going to be number 4, Riptide, as she is the first to get out of the pack and now already scoring her first points in this jam.
Riptide, another one from Fort Wayne, coming around trying to tangle with Holly Fester. And a block in the back for Shady Lane as she leaves.
Looks like this is going to be a power jam as Honeysuckle picks up her 4th minor, cutting the track. Naptown now at a huge advantage. They've got 3-on-3 in the pack, but only 1 jammer out there. So this is when Naptown is only focused on offense, Detroit only focused on defense. Now the pack goes to 4-on-2 as Naptown is having penalty trouble in this power jam.
Eliminator has to let Riptide go 5 points for the Fort Wayne transfer. 103-79 now. Naptown trying to come back, trying to use the penalties from Detroit against them. 5 more. 10 points on the board for Riptide.
This tug of war just goes back and forth. You have a few jams where Detroit dominates. Then you have this where Naptown is able to take advantage of a little bit of penalty trouble on the side of Detroit. When you have a team like Naptown that is good at exploiting those weaknesses, you really have to play carefully. Naptown 84, Detroit 103. Not a big enough gap for anyone to get comfortable with 16 minutes and 39 seconds to go.
Until Rip's points on the board, Naptown has been in a bit of a scoring drought. They've gone 4 jams without putting points on the board.
Honeysuckle back on the track, killing the power jam. Riptide now at the back, trying to get through and pick up some more before the jam is called. It looks like she's awarded 4 points. Make sure when you're in the Indianapolis area that you drink Sun King, handcrafted award-winning beer brewed in Indianapolis, Indiana. It's fantastic and makes you feel pretty. And don't forget rollergirlskates.com. Get smacked at rollergirlskates.com and check out exactly what they've got to offer. Everything from wheels, bearings, protective gear, and good times.
To the line for Naptown will be a Moose Boosh. That's why you heard the boo sound earlier. It's Boosh. Lead jam for the former basketball player. Racer McChaser in a rare position of not being able to get through the pack first. She's been almost flawless from getting lead jammer this evening. She'll go jammer on jammer with Boosh. Racer pushes her out of bounds, now backing up. This is more of a time-kill situation for the Detroit Jammer.
Boy, watching the roller derby instincts that Racer McChaser owns as she is playing defense against Amouge Bouche. Every time Amouge was trying to make an adjustment to juke and get around, Racer McChaser had already anticipated that move. She's got a fantastic roller derby mind and knows how to react to the action on the track to keep an advantage.
Naptown within 15 points. Bouche sees fit to put her hands on her hips and calls this one off after she grabbed a couple of more. The Tornado Sirens now knocking on the door within 11.
We do want to thank the following tournament partners for their involvement in the 2011 WFTDA North Central Region Playoff. Papa Roo, Sun City Skates, Talk His Cheap Skate Gear, and Vanilla Skates alongside PDA.
An 18-4 run put on by Naptown thanks to Amouge Bouche and Riptide. Now Blue Messiah trying to inch back and get Naptown within scoring position as 1/4 of play is left. Blue Messiah lead jam Naptown.
Cookie Rumble trying to get through the pack now in turn 4. Looks to go to the inside line of the front stretch, and now she is out on her initial pass. Naptown is in striking distance and is poised to score as Blue goes to the outside with a quickness, dodging as much as she can the hits from Detroit. Looks like she is going to pick up a track cut at the very end there, sending her to the penalty box. So this is going to start in a power jam situation with the advantage going to Detroit.
Actually, play may be continuing. There wasn't a real clear cut. I don't think I heard the 4 whistles blow.
The 4 whistles blew. It was actually a reaction time thing. Whenever she was knocked out of bounds, she re-entered. She was calling off the jam already, so the jam official calls it off. But because it was a power jam, normally it would continue because she loses that power.
So Blue Messiah will be sitting in the penalty box to start off this next jam as Racer McChaser short shifting here. We saw her jam 3 jams ago. Detroit, it seems like when they get in trouble, they start to clamp down a little bit and use fewer jammers. They like to get their high point scorers out there. They like to get Racer. If she hasn't scored before, they're going to throw her back out there because they know at any second she's going to put some points on the board.
She is a producer for her team. You put her out there, she will get 9 times out of 10 some points on that board. Is exactly what Detroit needs. They need to extend their lead right now. It is too close for comfort, especially when you have 13 minutes and 35 seconds to go in this game. Right now, Naptown definitely has the ability to keep it tight and eventually overcome Detroit. That being said, Detroit has been able to adjust, as you were speaking of earlier. Whenever they start to get a little bit of a slump, maybe getting some penalty trouble, they put their key players in there, they get some momentum back on their side, they find that rhythm that they have had thus far, and they get back to winning.
Detroit started off at 8-0, their shortest lead up until, well, right now. That was it, 8 points. And now the most narrow lead that Naptown's been able to get under is this. So it's 103 to 95, tying that 8-point short lead that Detroit held after the first jam. Naptown has led 1 time. They took it at the 22nd jam, 67-65. Detroit otherwise has pretty well controlled this, leading by as many as 37 points.
It has been a dramatic game, Danny. This has been one of the most fun experiences that I've had in a while, and I've been fortunate enough to go to quite a few tournaments as of late. But the North Central region has been extremely exciting. From Friday's first game to the game we're seeing before us, what an oyster we have been getting, and we're about to pluck the pearl as someone decides who's going to go to the show in Denver, Colorado as the 3rd place seed from the North Central region.
Now, Dump Truck, you've been around. I mean, you know, not just that way, but
Well,
that
thank
way
you.
too, but the other way. And you've seen a lot of Derby. How does this tournament compare to, say, the others that you've seen, the other 3 regions?
Well, the gameplay is very different. We've talked about that earlier in this weekend. You know, the West having those very analytical minds of the rule set. They'll break it down. They'll find things in the rule set that will work to their advantage depending on who they're going to play. Then you've got the South Central region. They play a lot of hard-hitting, old-school roller derby, but they also use those rules to their advantage. What you see more of in the North Central region is skating fast and turning left. They really like to be on skates. They really like to get a high miles per hour when they're making these turns. That's what you see in the North Central region. It's been consistent, it's been fantastic, and it's definitely been competitive.
Power jam starting for Racer McChaser with Blue Messiah, Naptown's jammer, in the box. 20 seconds able to go off before Racer even twitched from the line. Packs reforming and segregating. Detroit in the black. They're in front with their 3-wall. Naptown forming a 3-wall of their own, trying to hold back Racer. One-on-one, Majestic. She will pawn off to I'm a Hurt You at the front, and Naptown recycling their blockers.
Just look at the patience of Racer McChaser. She gets to that pack without any stress. She lets the plays come to her. She lets the pack evolve. She trusts in her girls that are out there making up the body that does the work in the trenches, and she is more than willing to wait for a play to show itself. Right now, she's at the back of the pack where this power jam has come to a conclusion.
Blue Messiah makes her way in, got a baby whip from Majestic, and she can now score points. Racer McChaser, as you mentioned, her patience paying off, will get around Asian Sensation, net 4 more points, and extend DDG's lead 112 to 95.
You hear the Detroit fans out there booing. That is for Booty Livers. Now on the jammer line for Detroit. One of the captains for that squad. And it looks like Dora the Destroyer, one of the Leathermans of the Naptown Roller Girls. Someone you can put in any position and be successful at it. Will be taking the jammer line for the ladies in white. The jam whistle has been called, and we are at a standoff here at the pivot line.
Now, although that just looks like a mass of people kneeling and getting up and so forth, there is strategy to that. It's sort of misdirection. If Detroit kneels down, they're going to be really out of play. That can make a pack go away and then restart as soon as they take back up the knee.
Both jammers now engaged in the backstretch. Booty Livers looking for the inside line in turn 3, not being given it by Naptown as they are locking it down, keeping it tight. Nice hit there by I'm a Hurt You in turn 4, forcing Booty Livers to be recycled, Danny.
Great work by I'm a Hurt You, knocked her out of bounds, fell backwards. That's the strategy. It forces the player, and she's doing it again. I'm a Hurt You trying to draw the track cut penalty. And meanwhile, Dora the Destroyer off and blocker. Now the jammer, I think she was past the star.
Wow, she is your lead jammer, and she is picking them up 5 at a time. The crowd here in Indianapolis approves.
No, I'm incorrect. Definitely not past the star. I still see a jammer or a pivot helmet out there.
Yeah, she started off in the jammer slot. Right. Took her a while to get out, but the second she gets out, she starts to produce for her team from Naptown here in Indianapolis. Booty Liver still at the back. Naptown with a fearsome foursome. They're holding her back. Dora the Destroyer picking up 5 more points. That's a grand slam for the Naptown Roller Girls.
Teams keeping relatively clean here, but Detroit will have 2 players in the box. Naptown had a big advantage. Dora cashes in. 5 full points for Naptown brings them within 2 points as she tries to pile on more.
Wow, and the crowd is on their feet and out of their minds. Whether they're from Indianapolis or not, this crowd loves to see a team like Naptown succeed. They are new to this role of being a major player in the North Central region, but it looks like everyone likes them there.
Dora the Destroyer, 15 points, ends a minor drought by her team. They had only been held to 6 points in the last 6 jams until Dora put those 15 up. Naptown waiting in the weeds and scoring in bunches. A moose-boosh to the line. That's the other boo sound you heard.
Cookie Rumble going to be jamming forward Detroit, but a moose-boosh out of the pack quick and in a hurry, and she is your lead jammer.
She's opposed by Cookie Rumble from the jammer line. Now Serial Killer goes one-on-one, pushes her off to Majestic, who rides her out of bounds.
Moose Boost now already picking up points as she passes by Bruzy Sue. 1 point behind Detroit at this moment. She's looking to not just tie the score, she wants to get a lead here late in the second period with only 8.5 minutes to go.
Bush gets the sign from her bench that there is a jammer now able to score points. One more player in the box for Detroit. Naptown takes their second lead. Listen to this Indianapolis crowd.
Boy, look at him. Moose Boosh calling out the crowd going, yes, those points were for you, my friends. It is now 114 Naptown Roller Girls, Detroit Derby Girls with 112. And Danny, we've got 8 minutes and 4 seconds for Detroit to turn it back up and make things happen if they want to stay in this game. It is an unbelievably exciting moment here at the North Central Region playoffs.
Goosebumps, Dump Truck. I have goosebumps. A 35-0 run put Detroit out front early, but Naptown closed the door and has just stayed in the weeds.
You called it earlier, Danny. They put in Racer McChaser when they need her most. They just got their first disadvantage in points of this game. They throw her in there. She gets lead jammer right off the bat, but on the hunt is Made in America as she is closing that gap between she and Racer McChaser.
Maiden coming up on Serial Killer at the rear of the pack. Ima Hurtu also squeezing in. Maybe a point, maybe not. 3 points.
And we have another lead change, my friend. 3 points there for Detroit as they now pull ahead by 1 whole point. We've got 7 minutes, 4 seconds to go of this amazing tug-and-war of flat track roller derby.
The only other time Naptown took the lead, it was also grabbed back right by the next jam. Naptown has only led by 2 points. That was the second time they've done it. Detroit's led by as many as 37 points. Blue Messiah to the line along with Effin' Money. 115 to 114, the narrow 1 point lead by Detroit. Naptown refuses to back down.
The crowd here in Indianapolis has been very pleased with the events that have unfolded from Friday to this moment. It is worth every ounce of their investment to be a spectator or a competitor here in Indianapolis. And it warms my heart to be one of the viewers of this onslaught of roller derby that we have been talking about for about a period and 3/4 now.
We're lucky guys, Dump Truck. We get to just sit back and talk derby all afternoon. We've seen some dandies today, and the upset specials have been all over the place. Blue Messiah gets out quick, and as the pack spreads apart, she will be lead jammer for the Naptown Tornado Sirens.
Just about 10 seconds for her to get through that small micro pack there as it is 2-on-2 in the pack. Here comes Blue Messiah looking to pick up points, and now it looks like Naptown will have a 3-point lead. They get 4 points on that pass, making it 3 points to the advantage of Naptown. I have a feeling we've got some more of this change-up going on.
I want the lead. No, I want the lead. No, I want the lead. 3 lead changes in 3 jams. Naptown up to their largest lead of 3 points, 118 to 115. Detroit's led by as many as 37. Naptown has been clawing back this whole way.
When it gets down to moments like this, you know that it's going to come down to penalty management. You give them an inch, they're going to take a yard and a half no matter which team you're speaking of. So you have to make sure your jammers stay on the track, and the more blockers you have working for her, the better it's going to be. But it looks like Made in America gets out of the pack. She's going to be your lead jammer. Naptown owning the jam clock.
If you're a fan of reading body language, if you look at some of the Detroit players, they expect to get points.
I was just speaking about this. You have to be able to keep your jammer on the track if you want to be successful. But it looks like the 4th minor that Made in America picked up is going to be washed out by the 4th minor track cut that Cookie Rumbles picks up, as we're going to have a turning of the tables in the jammer
Made in
situation.
America won't have a whole lot of time to do it. 1 minute and 9 seconds to put points on the board. She knocks off 1 block, shrugs a second from Booty Livers, and gets around. She has now scored 5 points. Naptown with a 123-115 lead as the Detroit jammer is sprung. This will go the full 2 minutes, 49 seconds left in that jam.
Bruzy Sue going all over Made in America, trying to keep it slow as Cookie Rumbles wants to get out of that pack. Now Cookies is starting to play some defense of her own, even though she is the jammer for Detroit. Made in America finding the inside line as they have a pack advantage 4-on-2 and she has some friends to help her out. 5 points there for the Naptown Roller Girls, making it a grand slam for Naptown.
Made in America coming back up on the rear of the pack as Cookie Rumble continues to struggle getting through. She finally is let go by Majestic, and Maiden wants a few more points of her own. She'll get let go as Elle McPherson heads to the box.
Under 4 minutes to go in gameplay, and this jam has just come to a conclusion, and I can see the roof lifting 1 inch at a time as the intensity of the crowd is playing a huge part in Naptown's success here today.
You're witnessing Naptown's largest lead of this bout at 17 points. Dump Truck, they have traded the lead now in almost each jam of the last 7. Time continues to be of an essence, though. Under 3.5 remaining. Amuse Bouche has been somewhat of a hero this bout. Was somewhat feeling blue last bout against Windy City. A late game penalty allowed Windy to tick time off the clock, but Amuse has come to play today. If anyone on this Naptown roster can recover from that type of feeling, it's Amuse Bouche, and she sure has.
Looks like the timeout has been called by Detroit and has come to a conclusion. The only thing missing from this bout is a Sun King, Drink Sun King, handcrafted, award-winning beer, brewed in Indianapolis.
Made in America, that last 14-point jam gave her team the largest lead they've held. 3 minutes and 17 seconds to go. Again, Racer McChaser, the big game player, is who's going to the line for Detroit. Lead jam by Amuse Bouche. And you saw the look on her face right there. That is redemption.
She was the first out of the pack, but she does not own the jam clock. She did have a minor track cut getting through her first time, and Racer McChaser gets out of the pack, immediately gets lead jammer status, calls off the jam. Smart play there. Detroit Derby Girls, a very, very effective and capable squad to bring it back up and tighten things up again. This game ain't over by any means. It looks like Cookie Rumble is going to be jamming for Detroit, and it's going to be Amuse Bouche for Naptown.
She'll stay on the line, and this is a decision I think Coach Jay Roller is happy to make, allowing Amuse, who just had a short jam, to go back out there. She is fired up and wants this play more than anybody.
Serial Killer forcing the recycle on Cookie Rumble, allowing Amuse Bouche to spread things out a bit and get out of that pack as lead jammer.
Katya Lookin gives an extra lead jam sign as she heads to the penalty box. 4-4 in terms of personnel for each of these teams. Bouche needs to look at that clock and make sure she can continue to melt it. Points are nice, but they have a 17-point lead. Clock is of the essence right now.
Detroit keeping their ladies up front, trying to keep the pack pace very, very high, forcing Amuse Bouche to work even harder for these additional points. But it looks like she's going to get through with ease and pick up 4 points and call off the jam.
Unbelievable. Naptown, their largest lead of 19 points. A timeout from Detroit. 1 minute and 31 seconds remaining. We're live in Indianapolis. It's the Indiana State Convention Center. I'm Danny Mack with Dump Truck. Thank you for watching the 2011 North Central Region Playoffs here on WFTDA.com.
I tell you what, Danny Mack, you really have to watch the time clock here. Both of these teams have 2 timeouts apiece. No matter what happens, they're going to make sure they're watching both the period clock and the jam clock with no discretion. They are making sure that they use that to their advantage, because right now it is that close. Official timeout being called right now. It looks like in the future this next jam will be Made in America jamming for Naptown and Racer McChaser jamming for Detroit.
I'll tell you what's most impressive about this Dump Truck is how far behind Naptown has been playing even from the start. 35-0. That's what you get when you start, and they've clawed back, they've fought back, they barely led for just a brief moment for 2 jams. At the very start of the second half, they didn't have any lead in the first half. They put points on the board in clumps. Riptide threw up 14 in the end of, at about the 10-minute mark of play into the second half. Dora the Destroyer had 15 points at the 34 jam mark, and Made in America has maintained as well, along with Amuse Bouche, who double shifted and allowed her team to melt time off the clock.
Whether they're a fan of Naptown or they're a fan of Detroit, everyone in this building is on their feet in anticipation in what could be the final period of this third place game. If it ends up ending with Naptown victorious, they'll be going to Denver, Colorado to play someone we haven't been informed of yet. We're going to be doing the drawing for the seating at the conclusion of tonight's events at the very end of the award ceremony. So stick around for the rest of today's roller derby action. Not only are you going to see 1, 2, and 3 unfold before your eyes, but we're also going to inform you of who plays who in the first round of the championship tournament held in Denver, Colorado.
136-117 winner goes to Denver. This is it. I mean, there's a minute and 8 seconds left on the game clock. The important part, though, is mission 1 with a bullet. Get lead jammer, period. Get lead jammer. Points don't necessarily matter if Naptown can get lead jammer. It's going to force Detroit's hand. They might have to get over aggressive. They might force a penalty or some type of mistake like that, but Made in America at the line has one job and one job only: get lead jammer. She'll be helped by Ima Hurtu and Dora the Destroyer, as Katya Lukin and I think Anastasia are in the bench, serving some pine time for Naptown. A power jam on the way for NRG.
Looks like the jammer in black at the previous jam did pick up a major hit to the head, a block to the head penalty. So it looks like we're going to start this next jam in a power jam, the advantage going to Naptown. And it looks like we have another timeout being called by the Naptown Roller Girls.
Well, that's
keeping it cool there on the bench.
Sure, and I got to say, both of these teams are in good hands. Dr. Vroom, among others, are very, very analytical, and they take their time. And it's not like, you know, there are some officials out there that take their time but don't use it well. These guys are always out to get the call right. WFTDA officials are the best around, and they want to make the right call. They aren't going to come out until that right call is made. 136-117, you're witnessing Naptown's largest lead. Detroit held a lead of 37 points. They got out 35-0 to start play here in Indianapolis at the Convention Center 2011 North Central Region Playoffs.
And it is an exciting game here. If you have just now tuned in, then shame on you. Right now, Detroit Derby Girls 117, Naptown Roller Girls 136. Naptown starting in a power jam, and you see a little bit of taunting there from Made in America. She's got a little bit of attitude, but she's also got a clock to milk, so she's totally okay with what's happening on the track right now.
Without her doing a thing, she gets 1 minute of free skating. Because of that power jam, she's allowed to strafe around. You'll see her really just kind of strafe around. She's not going to make contact. She does not want to cause a penalty this late. She wants to force the issue and allow that 8 game seconds remaining to be all she needs to worry about.
Yep, where the period clock is at 30 seconds now. She is consistently showing some patience here as she skips side to side there on the track. Detroit keeping it as slow as possible, wanting to stay as close to her as they can be.
10 seconds remaining in the penalty as Cookie Rumble stands up. As soon as she enters the floor, Made in America will start to make her move as well. 5 seconds on the game clock. As soon as that ticks off, it's all jam clock. Dora to the penalty box for Naptown.
And it looks like the jam clock is going to be owned by Cookie Rumbles from the Detroit Derby Girls. As Made in America still hanging tough at the back of the pack behind the 4 wall from Detroit.
Majestic enters play, immediately hits Cookie Rumble. Now it's time to milk the clock. 35 seconds left on the jam clock. That will take us the rest of the way.
Cookie Rumble getting through the pack, picking up 5 points, starting to get close again. It's 122 to 136. Detroit on the move. Cookie Rumble 1/2 lap behind the pack.
20 seconds remaining. You'll see Naptown try to speed this up and force the play harder. Made in America gets squashed. Cookie Rumble through the pack, 10 seconds to go. I don't think she has enough time to do it. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, and Naptown wins it. Naptown going to Denver, their first trip to the WFTDA Championship, and they do it on their home floor. Unofficial final in Indianapolis, 136 to 125. Bedlam in Indianapolis. Naptown sent their best jammer out there. A late game call went against them last bout where they could have played spoiler to Windy City. They have an opportunity to be the 4th upset today, and they were. 4 bouts, 4 upsets in the 2011 WFTDA North Central Playoff Sunday Upset Day. A 9-point victory by the number 4 seed Naptown Tornado Sirens, knocking off the number 2 seed Detroit. Detroit will finish this playoffs with 2 losses. Naptown, on the other hand, gets 2 big wins, their only loss coming against Chicago. To further punctuate how big of a victory this was, Detroit went out 35-0 to start. Their first scoring came all the way in the 9th jam. It was a amuse-bouche putting up 5 grand slams to break that ice. Detroit then got the lead back, or kept the lead rather, held it all the way through the first half, leading by as many as 37 points. Naptown's first lead came at 67-65. Detroit grabbed it right back with a big 13-point score. Detroit held the lead all the way through until Naptown took it at the 35th jam by a score of 114 to 112. Detroit took the lead back next jam. Naptown took it back in the 37th jam. Detroit got it for a mere moment, and then Made in America, who you saw in the last jam, poured it on, putting Naptown up 132 to 115 before amuse-bouche came in for 2 consecutive jams. She scored a few points herself, but was able to maintain clock, keep Made in America rested, and Made in America came out and delivered. All she had to do was keep the pack fast, keep the pack clean, and work off the penalty that Detroit had accrued. A lead jam was really even not the goal. Made in America just had to work off clock. As soon as Detroit came on, they got lead jam, but were not able to score points, or score enough points rather, before Naptown closed it out. The time became of essence. It was only 52 seconds that Detroit needed in order to try to outscore Naptown. 136-125. Again, the final.
Hi, Dump Truck here again at 2011 WFTDA North Central Region Playoffs. I'm joined by Coach Speedy of the Detroit Derby Girls. You have to be proud of your girls. They fought hand, tooth, and nail in today's game and the entire weekend throughout. They proved to be one of the toughest competitors, one of the most brutalizing teams in flat track roller derby today. Not able to come out with a win as a very, very close loss underneath Naptown today. But you have to be very, very proud of where they're at. And what is your standout moment? What is a victory that Detroit can pull away from this weekend?
Well, our girls always give it 100%. When they show up, we never quit, we never lay down. Unfortunately, we've not been able to get over the hump, and, hats off to Naptown. They've been improving all year long, and they showed up big today. But, it's tough to digest, but, you can't question our effort ever. We've gotten a little penalty trouble, things like that, and that'll creep up on you. But, I'm going to be proud of the girls. They gave everything they had, and they're heartbroken today, but, we go back to work.
Well, thank you for your time, Coach. I really appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing Detroit coming out strong again next year. And we are also here with number 2 of Naptown Roller Girls. How are you doing, Serial?
Oh my gosh, we worked so hard. I'm so stoked to be here. I'm so proud of our girls. I'm proud of our coaches. I'm proud of all the volunteers that came on to put this event together. They all worked really hard, and it just feels so good. I'm just so proud of everybody.
Well, everyone in this building is proud of y'all. Y'all have proven to be a formidable opponent the entire weekend long. You had not only your local fans here on your side, but the roller derby community, I guarantee you, not just in this room, but in general, really rooting for the new up-and-comers and number 3 seed in the North Central region.
Naptown, yeah!
Knowing that you're going to play Detroit today, what was your frame of mind coming into this game? What did you have to do?
Well, we wanted to stay focused and stay in the game and not get ourselves mentally distracted. That was our key goal. And I think today, this game proved that we have been practicing that and proved that was the key to us winning, because we did not get down even though we were losing. We brought it back together, we stuck it together, and we won it.
Well, now you're going to be heading to the championship game or tournament in Denver, Colorado. We're going to be pulling the seeds tonight following the award ceremonies.
All right.
Who would you like to play first?
Oh, man.
So many choices.
So many choices. That's a tough one, folks. We went up to Minnesota a while ago. I'd like to play them again, but, they're here in this division, so it's kind of hard to say for sure who I'd want to go against.
Well, you're going to have a great pick of opponents there for sure. Go enjoy the win with your team. You've got a third-place trophy coming your way, and we're going to hang out in Denver, Colorado.
Awesome.